The Psychic Connection with David O'Reilly. Text tarot followed by your question to 57033 or phone 1890 44 1068 now.
Good evening, it's the Psychic Connection. If you have any questions for me, text them in. Text tarot followed by a space and then your question to 57033. Texts are not charged during the programme, which means you don't charge for texts at all. However, 57033 is a subscription service to exit, reply, stop at any time, and you get a weekly horoscope costing €2 per week. Radio, so keep those questions coming. If you'd like to send a text, or if you'd like to send an email even, send it to studio@countrymix.ie. And of course, keep listening because we've got lots and lots of time to get to as many readings as possible, so do send them in. And also as well, to start the programme off, I've got a very, very interesting guest in to talk about creative visualizations and how to get us all going and to be creative in our minds. So, hello, welcome in, Ed Parkinson.
How are you, David? Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. So tell me about what you do. I've never come across something so interesting. It's totally different to anything that we've covered before, but you help people to creatively open their minds, to visualize, to connect, and all that sort of thing. Do tell.
Yeah, well, I suppose, I'm an artist, which I suppose is really what I do. But, I've studied kind of spirituality and spiritual subjects over the years. And in discussions with people, because I think in a visual form, the subject that we are talking about, I would get I would see it in pictures, which is the normal way I think and I see.
Excellent.
So when I would be discussing something with a person, and I would have the idea in pictures, and over the years I've put these ideas down on paper so that people can see them, and I find that it helps them understand the subject we're talking about, and it generally helps them sort of get a better understanding of the concept.
So if they're working through a matter in their life, some particular problem perhaps, or some issue, is it? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I suppose I could tell you a story of. I was at one exhibition, and a little child came along with his parents, and the picture is of a warrior who is dead, and but her soul body is actually coming out of her dead body, and the child was really interested in this, and I said I asked his mother, well, what's going on, or and she said, well, he's particularly interested in death at the moment, and so I showed him another one which shows a girl sort of coming out of leaving her body in a coffin, and going to basically up to heaven, going to the light. Mm-hmm. And she explained to me then that the child's one of the students in his class had died tragically recently, and right. So this actually helped them a lot to understand what actually happens at the point of death and what happens after that. So
very interesting. So it's about exploring life and all sorts of experiences that would go through life, and in that case, because the child was connected to it, for him that was his way of seeing or understanding death through pictures.
Exactly. So rather than trying to explain it in words, hopefully they explain it in pictures.
And it's also a psychological technique as well that some psychotherapists employ. So it's quite interesting, yeah. They work through pictures and they ask people what they see in a photo, and it can be a very useful way of getting beyond the conscious to understand what the subconscious is doing at any particular time. So some therapists use that. So it's quite interesting as a spiritual art. And I've got them here, and they are absolutely beautiful. I don't think I've ever seen such gorgeous pictures. And you've done them all through the digital arts, aren't they?
Yeah, I use a computer to create them. Like that's my tool.
Yes.
And so it's kind of across, depending depending on the picture and the image that I wanted to portray, it can be sort of a lot of painting or a lot of photographs. And so I will use both and other tools.
You've amalgamated all these different things to create these amazing tapestries almost. Pictures.
Well,
mosaics even. So anyway, so what you're going to do tonight for us is very interesting. So if anyone out there would like to have a journey, so it's not a reading, it's kind of a journey. And what's going to happen is, if you're interested to have one of these journeys done, just text tarot followed by a space and then your name to 57033. And what I'll do is I'll pass it over to Ed, and Ed is going to pick out a picture at random, and that picture is going to in some way be relevant to you. So that's totally different, something we've never done before, and it's going to be really interesting. So, get in there. We're going to take about 2 or 3 of them, so you might be lucky if you text in right now, and just text in tarot, T-A-R-O-T, and then your name, and just send it in to 57033. And what I'll do is I'll pass it over to Ed. Now, you don't need to put a question in there, do you? It's just going to be a visualization that you're going to pick that's going to be relevant energy-wise.
Yeah, they could put a word in if they want. Like, basically, like it's kind of the journey of soul and our lives, how we go through life and whatever. So, and we'll pick a picture and then we'll try and describe it to them, and hopefully it'll...
Sounds really interesting. So, to start off, could you do one for me?
Sure, yeah, okay. Yeah, which one would, what do you...
Oh, do I pick the picture myself, or are you going to pick it for me?
Well, I know, you pick the picture.
I'll pick it for me? Okay. Okay, well, I'm just going to literally just pick them at random, because they're all beautiful.
All right.
And by the way, if you do want to see these, you've got a website as well, don't you?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, so spiritualartblog.com. And are all the pictures on the website, so you can see them?
They are, and they will be, I haven't actually got the... it's not particularly up front on the blog. You'll have to go rooting for it.
Okay.
But I will put it up tonight on the blog. So tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or if you want to go to, there's a website link on it. If you go to on the blog, there's a website, and from there on the first page, or at least in the gallery page, you'll find the.
Oh, lovely! So they can click on gallery. They can see the list.
It's a PDF, and you've got all, like what we're talking about this evening is there's 12 particular images on the journey of soul. So
wonderful.
It's there. There's more.
There we go. So yeah, and they are really beautiful, and I would definitely recommend just having a look at these, because they are absolutely stunning, and really you should be making a tarot deck out of these, because they are amazing. And they're big. They're big A4 pictures here, so we're going to call them a card deck, but you really can't. They're big. They're like a picture deck.
They're a bit too big to be playing cards with.
You couldn't play cards with these, and yeah, absolutely. So they're much bigger than tarot. So anyway, so what I'm going to do, so I'm just going to skip through these. I'm going to pick one at random. So let's see. And what am I going to use? I'm going to work on study and education, because that's a major aspect for me in my life at this particular time. So I'm going to see what's relevant for me there. And